Welcome back, everyone. John here with Inhale Exhale. And in today's video, I am going to tell you about my story with letting go and how I came across this technique and how it's transformed my life over the last 5 years. And before I get into that, if you are interested in receiving more content like this that's related to emotional release and achieving true and lasting transformation, be sure to subscribe to the channel to get notified when that content is released. So I feel like this is a very important video for me to create. I'm posting all these different videos about how to let go, the common blocks that people experience. But up until this point, I haven't really told you about who I am, my story, and kind of what led me to discover this process. Now, what I talk a lot about is letting go. You could also call it surrender, feeling from presence, and there's other ways to describe it as well. And for me, I've been on, I guess you would call it like a spiritual path for about 20 years. And when I first got on this path, it wasn't really because I was looking for healing and growth. It was more about kind of discovering truth. Like I felt very drawn to the path, and I discovered and explored a lot of different things along the way. Now, for me and my story, I have experienced quite a lot in my life, and I don't think it's important to really go into depth and in detail about those experiences. But what is important to know is that I've experienced an intense amount of anxiety and shame throughout my life. Now, to understand kind of how bad the anxiety and shame got, it led me to a point where I was borderline agoraphobic. So agoraphobia, being afraid to go outside. I wasn't at that point yet because I had really good unhealthy coping patterns to make it possible for me to go out and be in public. But I was right on that border. And I could see the process taking place where each day was getting a little bit worse and worse. And I knew that this was something that I had to address in my life. And so the first thing that I went for was therapy. So many of us seek out therapy. Therapy is readily available. It's becoming more and more accepted. And that was the first real approach that I went after when I was trying to feel better. And therapy was really good in that it helped give me an intellectual understanding of why I was thinking and feeling the way that I was. It helped me gain a lot of self-awareness. So I could very clearly explain to you why I was thinking and feeling the way that I was. But even after 4 years of therapy, I was still feeling intense emotions, intense anxiety, and intense shame. And again, therapy was beneficial. There's a lot that I got out of it, but it didn't really get to those root core feelings that I was experiencing. Now, I never took medication, but there was a part of me that intuitively felt and was drawn to exploring and discovering what I thought was a cure. So I've always felt like there was a way to truly overcome and transcend the different thought patterns and emotional patterns that we have. I didn't know what that was going to look like, but that was what I was drawn towards. So after my 4 years of therapy, I did a little traveling. I was in South America at the time, and I arrived in Argentina. And early March in 2020 is when I landed in Argentina. And as we all know, lots was going on around the world at that time. And then just a few days after me arriving, lockdowns were enforced. So there I am, stuck in a studio apartment by myself in a country where I didn't know anyone at that time. And when I look back, this was actually the perfect environment for me to really explore and dive deep and really figure out what was going on inside. So early on into lockdown, I came across this video where this guy was talking about this book. And the name of the book was Letting Go, Pathway to Surrender by David Hawkins. And what really intrigued me about the description of this book is that it focused on the necessity of feeling your emotions. And that was something that I was just naturally drawn towards. So I picked up the book, finished it, and then began practicing the technique that was outlined in the book. And for the first couple weeks, my experience was a bit unsuccessful. So I wasn't able to feel and to release and process anything. But then after a couple weeks, I had my first experience with the process where an emotion presented itself in my stomach region, and then I sat and was as present as possible as I could be with that emotion. And then after a few minutes, I noticed that the emotion was dissolving. And then once it was dissolved and ran its course, the physical sensation I was left with was as if I had cried for hours. Even though I didn't actually cry, that was the sensation that I was left with. And then this was also coupled with an intense feeling of relief. And you could even describe that relief as bliss. So given this intense experience that I just had with the process, I really dove deep because I just knew that there was something to this approach. And I knew that this was going to be the cure for everything that I was thinking and feeling. So after that first initial experience, I just continued to practice and practice and practice the technique and had many, many deep releases. And each of those releases was also combined with this immense feeling of relief and bliss. So after me having these first initial experiences with the process, things got a bit heavy. Some intense stuff came up, and it's been this bumpy ride over the course of the past 5 years or so. But along the way, I've really addressed some core root fears that I've had. And this process just continues to unfold. And the experiences are getting deeper and deeper. And the things that I'm able to release have been deeper and deeper. And so at this stage, I am completely confident that this is the approach to achieving true transformation, or the approach to freeing yourself from all of those limiting beliefs, all of that stored emotional baggage that you have in your body. And for me, I'm still also very much in this process. Even though I've had many, many deep experiences, and I've even had a recent awakening as a result of this process, I'm still very much on this path. And I am wanting to bring all of this to you. And my whole goal is to let you know that there is a way to truly overcome everything that you're experiencing. We're living in a time when more people are disconnected from themselves than ever before. More people are on medication than ever before. And people are just being numbed out. And what we really need to do is we need to address how we're feeling. And from everything that I've experienced over the last 5 years, we need to feel what's there. And now, as we begin the process of feeling, everything that I'm talking about is not superficial in any way. It's very deep. You could call it spiritual. If you don't like that word, I don't really like that word, but it's an incredibly deep process, and it's one that will lead you to freedom. Now, with that said, it's also a process that takes a lot of work. It takes commitment to truly face the things that you're afraid of. Because at the core of everything that we're doing when we're feeling from this place of presence, we are confronting our deepest fears, triggers, patterns. So this process takes courage and it takes commitment. But everything that I put out on this channel is going to be related to how to overcome the challenges as you give the letting go process a try. And my goal is to empower you to know that you can overcome the things that you're struggling with. So if this is the type of content that you would like to receive more of, and if you haven't subscribed already, be sure to do so now. And if you found value in this video, please give it a like. And until next time, take care, and I'll see you soon.